Tensions are boiling at Old Trafford as Rúben Amorim finds himself on the brink of being sacked by the Glazers. Old Trafford, once the theatre of dreams, has become a cauldron of discontent, confusion, and looming change. At the heart of this tempest is Rúben Amorim, a man who arrived with promise, poise, and the tactical pedigree to transform Manchester United into a modern footballing force. Fast forward to today, and that promise has crumbled under the weight of poor results, questionable decision-making, and a squad that seems more fractured than formidable. Reports now suggest that Amorim's time at United is dangerously close to ending, with the Glazer family, the often criticized owners of the club, losing patience after months of underperformance. But when the axe will fall? When Amorim was appointed as United's manager, he was heralded as one of the brightest young minds in European football. After impressive spells with Braga and Sporting CP, where he transformed their tactical structure and delivered a Primeira Liga title, expectations were sky high. His innovative 3-4-3 system, emphasis on youth development, and disciplined approach to the game appeared tailor-made for a club looking to rebuild both identity and ambition. However, the Premier League proved to be a different beast altogether. From the outset, United looked disjointed, lacking both rhythm and resilience. Despite flashes of brilliance, consistency remained elusive. The tactical fluidity that defined Amorim's Sporting side never materialized at Old Trafford. Instead, the Red Devils often looked confused, frequently switching formations and lacking a clear sense of purpose on the pitch. One of the primary criticisms aimed at Amorim has been his handling of the squad. Manchester United is no stranger to egos and expectations, but under Amorim, harmony seems to have deteriorated further. Senior players have reportedly voiced concerns about unclear roles, erratic selection choices, and an over-reliance on unproven youth players. The midfield, once considered the engine of the team, has become a revolving door of underwhelming performances. Amorim's attempts to bring balance between experienced internationals and academy graduates have largely failed, leading to a lack of cohesion in both defense and attack. The transfer market decisions haven't helped either. Amorim pushed for several signings that have yet to prove their worth, with some critics pointing to a lack of Premier League readiness among his preferred targets. Meanwhile, several high-profile stars were either benched or deployed out of position, leading to mounting frustration both in the dressing room and among fans. For all their detachment and commercial focus, the Glazers are no strangers to managerial upheaval. Since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement, Manchester United has cycled through a string of managers: David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Erik ten Hag, all of whom ultimately failed to bring sustained success. Initially, the Glazers appeared willing to give Amorim time to implement his philosophy, especially given his reputation for long-term planning. But recent results, especially losses to mid-table teams, early exits from European competitions, and the lack of progress in domestic cups have accelerated internal unrest. Sources close to the club indicate that a rift has grown between Amorim and key figures in the club hierarchy. Meetings behind closed doors have reportedly turned tense, with the Glazers increasingly questioning whether the project is salvageable. With dwindling ticket sales, fan protests reigniting, and Champions League qualifications slipping out of reach, the financial ramifications of Amorim's failings are now impossible for the owners to ignore. The fans, long disillusioned with the Glazer regime, are now turning their ire towards Amorim. At home games, banners reading "Out of his depth" and "Bring back our United" have become commonplace. Social media has been ablaze with calls for change, and the once generous patience shown by the supporters has all but evaporated. Many feel Amorim was never the right fit, a tactician more suited to Portuguese football than the fast-paced, hyper-competitive environment of the Premier League. Others believe he was simply set up to fail by a dysfunctional club structure and a toxic ownership model. Either way, the love affair is over. What remains is a sense of betrayal, a broken project, and a club drifting perilously further from its former glory. With Amorim teetering on the brink, attention has already turned to potential replacements. Names like Zinedine Zidane, Graham Potter, and Roberto De Zerbi have been floated as possible successors. The club is rumored to be consulting external football advisors in preparation for yet another managerial search, one that they must get right if the club hopes to regain any semblance of elite status. Some insiders suggest Amorim may be allowed to finish the season before parting ways, especially if no suitable candidate is immediately available. Others believe the axe could fall within days, especially if results continue to nosedive. Regardless of the timeline, the writing appears to be on the wall. The dream of Amorim reviving Manchester United now lies in tatters, and a new era, whatever shape it takes, is soon to begin. Old Trafford is no stranger to turbulence, but the current storm may be the most disheartening yet. Rúben Amorim's tenure, once filled with promise and philosophical ambition, is now emblematic of a club struggling to find its way. As tensions boil and the Glazers inch closer to pulling the plug, one thing is certain: Manchester United, a club built on legacy and triumph, can no longer afford to get it wrong. The next decision will define not just the fate of a manager but the future.